I was standing in the mirror when I saw it. A bald patch the size of a quarter. And my first thought was, oh, heck no. And I just stood there with tears streaming down my face. See, after 40, I had anticipated maybe some texture changes to my hair, but not clumps, patches of missing hair. That was something entirely different. And if you are dealing with hair loss, hair thinning, dry, itchy scalp, hair that used to be your thing, but now it's not, I want you to stick with me, because what I found out changed everything. It wasn't supplements or special shampoos. What I'm going to share with you today are the 5 nutritional changes that I made that helped me to regrow my hair back after that horrifying moment standing in the mirror. In that moment, something in me shifted. I said, okay, Tracy, something deeper is going on, something other than just hair. In that moment, it was like, aha, I felt like I finally acknowledged the fact that my body had been knocking quietly, trying to get my attention, and I wasn't paying attention. And so it said, oh, okay, I'm tired of being polite. Will this get your attention? We need to have a conversation, like right now, about some of the things that you've been ignoring and avoiding. And if you've dealt with hair loss, hair thinning, hair issues, you already know it's not just about the hair. It's how you feel when you look in the mirror. It's the way you style your hair to hide what's going on. It's the way the changes to your hair, that thought is sitting in the back of your mind all day long. What I thought was a hair problem, which is why I bought all of the special oils and shampoos and prescriptions, got all of those things, just to find out that it really wasn't. It was more of a nourishment issue. And let me be clear, this is not going to be a what I eat in a day video, because the individual meals, placements, the plating, all of that stuff, none of that is what changed and helped my hair to regrow. So it's not one of those kind of videos. It's not about the specifics of what was on my plate. It's about learning how to listen to what my body had been trying to tell me for a long time. So let me walk you through the 5 nutritional changes that came out of that conversation between me and myself. And I'll tell you right now, number 3 is the one I almost skipped, and it ended up being the most important one. Change number 1. I wasn't eating enough. And I don't mean like I was doing crash fad diets or anything like that. What I mean is that I was underfeeding myself, believing that I was doing everything right. See, I have IBS, or irritable bowel syndrome. So my stomach does its own thing when it wants to do whatever it wants to do. It's very unpredictable. With that comes a great deal of discomfort. And so to manage that discomfort, I had begun to cut out foods, eliminate foods, shrink down portions to, manage the pain, to be able to live life somewhat normalish and not let IBS take over. And I got really good at it, really good at managing my stomach. But in managing my stomach, I fooled around and was depriving myself of the basic raw materials that it needed to maintain hair growth, to even grow hair. Because the thing that I didn't understand, maybe you know it, is that hair is not necessary for survival. It's not essential. And because it's not essential, when we underfeed ourselves, then the body says, okay, I'm going to protect your organs. I'm going to protect your brain. Your hair, that's a non-factor. So bye-bye. When we are underfed, undernourished, hair becomes a luxury to our nervous system. So when I started to feed myself enough again, actually enough, I noticed my hair started to feel softer. It stopped feeling like rough, dry, brittle sandpaper. I was like, ooh, I can run my fingers through my hair now. I like it. And that was the first indication to me that something positive was happening. Change number 2. My body had let me know that I had made eating an afterthought, especially protein. Protein was not the main character. It actually served as the garnishment on my plate. Now, if I'm honest, my meals look healthy. I had beautiful salads and smoothies and good, healthy comfort foods. And listen, all of those things, they absolutely have a place in our diets. But those meals did not give my body enough of the raw materials that it needed to hold on to hair, let alone regrow hair. See, when I sat down to do the math, I was eating about 50 grams of protein on a good day, but asking my hair to grow like Rapunzel's. 50 grams, that's it. Where today I eat 110 to 135 grams of protein each and every day, enough to support hair growth. And I had to completely rethink how to get there. I began swapping out breaded chicken strips and deli sandwiches and other processed meats for salmon, cod, bison, lamb. Because at some point I had to ask myself a hard question. Am I eating to feel like I'm doing something healthy? Or am I actually eating to rebuild something? Those are two different things. For a long time, I was doing the first, but telling myself I was doing the second. Okay, change 3. I told you this was the one. You can eat all the right foods. I mean, all of them. But if your body is not absorbing them, it barely matters. I had to come to terms with the fact that I kept eating foods because they were labeled healthy and under the guise of moderation. Because I had convinced myself that that was fine. But my body was reacting to them every single time. Bloating, discomfort, energy dips, that vague off feeling, the one that we try to push through. And that required me to ask myself a different question every time I sat down to eat. The question I stopped asking is this healthy? That question was not serving me well. Instead, I started to ask myself, what is the nutritional payoff of what I'm about to eat? Is it actually feeding my body or just making it feel like I'm doing something right? Because what I have learned is that inflammation, chronic low-grade irritation, tells the body that it's under stress. And a body that is trying to manage stress is not prioritizing hair growth. Hair growth is sitting in the waiting room waiting to be triaged. So my focus shifted from just eating for nutrition to eating for absorption. Is my body absorbing this? Is it using it? Is it assimilating it well? Removing foods that my body was quietly fighting. That was a huge, major turnaround with not just the texture of my hair, but the regrowth. That was when I actually started to see the little fuzzies coming in. And I was like, yes, yes, yes. New growth never felt so good. Change 4. This is the one I resisted because it seemed too simple. Consistency. I was not eating consistently. Not because I was dieting, but because I was busy driving kids around, cooking, working, staying in motion. Honestly, because sometimes staying in motion was a convenient way for me to not have to be with me and my feelings and all of that, right? I would go long stretches without eating, not even registering that I needed to eat until I was completely on empty. What I had to learn and take seriously this time is that the body needs rhythm. It needs predictability. It needs consistency in order to stay regulated, to feel safe, to properly give the body what it needs in the right time frame, in the right amounts, right quantities. All of it works together when there is consistency. It's interesting, when my kids were younger, there was consistency in their lives. There was a bedtime routine, there was lunchtime, there was reading time, school. All of it had a certain level of consistency built into it, and it made for just better people. And so I don't know why it is that I got older and I decided I didn't need that level of consistency in my life. I could just kind of wing things. Because when our bodies feel regulated and safe, that's when it's like, okay, we can start to repair, restore, rebuild. When I started eating with a more predictable schedule, not a rigid diet, just consistency, it felt like my body exhaled. And my hair started to grow in a way that made me pay attention. Not like it did when the clump fell out. No, this was like, okay, we can go some places. We can do some things. That kind of way. Because something was working. Change number 5 surprised me because I thought I had this one handled already. Hydration. I drink water. I drink plenty of water. But it turns out my body wasn't holding on to it. Not in a way that was supporting me or my hair. Because see, improper hydration doesn't show up the way you expect it to. It doesn't always look like being thirsty. It shows up as dry, brittle hair, skin that feels and looks dull no matter how much moisturization you put on it, feeling puffy and thirsty at the same time. In the afternoon crash, you've just accepted as normal. So then I had to sit with the question I hadn't asked myself before. Is my body actually hydrated? I had to come look at the checklist of things, and it wasn't. My body was absolutely not hydrated. It was allowing the water to just pass through. Electrolyte balance, digestion, stress levels, even how and when we are eating all play a part in whether or not hydration sticks and hydrates, or if it just runs right through us. Once that 5th piece was put into place, my hair started to blossom. I have never loved my hair as much. So here's what I want to leave you with. Everything I just walked you through, it didn't come from a pamphlet. There was no prescription. There's nothing that you need to go and purchase from the beauty supply store. All of that came from a decision that I finally made to listen to my body. You know, the body is always trying to communicate and tell us what's going on with it, what it needs, how we can course correct. And if something in our conversation sounded familiar to you, don't ignore that. What we've been calling normal aging sometimes is our bodies asking us to do something different, something specific. And you deserve to know what that is. And if you'd like to continue to have these real conversations about this season of life, join my bi-weekly newsletter where I send out information about things that I don't always talk about here on YouTube. And it's an opportunity for you to reply back and talk to me directly and get your questions answered or share your comments or your insights where you may not feel as comfortable doing it here on YouTube. Come be a part of the community because you shouldn't have to figure this out alone. We are traveling this road together. Let's figure it out together. I'll see you in the next one.